What the fuck just happened to Manchester United? Brighton 3, Manchester United 2. In the second Premier League fixture of the season, Manchester United have suffered their first defeat of the season at a place that we lost at last season. But a Brighton side that were beaten by Watford 2-0 last week, easy as well. They beat Manchester United, and despite the fact it was 3-2, it was absolutely comfortable for Brighton and Hove Albion. Absolutely comfortable. In the second half, when they were 3-1 up at half time, Manchester United played with little urgency, didn't go for it, didn't play like a team that were 3-1 down, didn't throw the kitchen sink at them. We just didn't try to make it happen, and we knew in the second half, with 45 minutes to go, get a goal, anything can happen. Anything can happen, but we didn't even look like scoring. We were trying Hollywood balls, hopeful balls, but nothing was coming off for United. Little movement off the ball, little shots on target, little hope, little anything from the team today. And it was really, really worrying for Manchester United fans to see our side lose like that at the hands of a Brighton side that, all due respect to them, aren't very good. They're a team that are going to be battling relegation, hoping to get just over 40 points, maybe finish top, around the 10th spot mark. But Manchester United today played against them like they were a Champions League side, and we were little old Brighton. It was poor. It was so poor. It was key stage 1 defending from Manchester United at the back. It was awful at the back. Bailly and Lindelof. Now, I give a hard time to Smalling and Jones, and I give them a hard time saying if Bailly and Lindelof play, we'll be all right. Jeez, they proved me wrong today because they were god awful. They were awful at the back today. More so Eric Bailly, who had an absolute shocker. And then you're thinking in the second half, all right, Eric, get your head on. His first touch is heavy. His second touch is a tackle. It was awful from Eric Bailly. Ashley Young at right back, not good enough. He's not a fullback. Luke Shaw had a bad game, but I didn't think he was the worst out of that back four today. The centre halves had a shocker. There was too much space in between Ashley Young and Bailly, and we got exposed once, twice. It was 2-0. We got a goal back into it through Romelu Lukaku. Let me go from back to front. First of all, if you're wondering, why the fuck is Adam in a suit and he's not outside the AMEX stadium? Well, I'm in a suit because I've been at my cousin's wedding today, and now I've got a christening party to go to. But after all of that, do I really want to do... I can't even be asked. United have made me hate life, man. Oh my God, that was awful football from Manchester United today. I remember Specs said about Arsenal once. You know Specs from Filthy Fellas. He said about Arsenal once, it looks like they don't train together and they just turn up for matches. That's exactly how Manchester United look. We look like we don't train together and we just turn up for matches. Let's go from back to front. David De Gea today. He was poor, had a bad game. Ashley Young, not good enough for us at any fullback position. Lindelof, Bailly, you hope they're good enough, but they were awful today. Eric Bailly, more so. You're looking at left back Luke Shaw. He didn't have a bad game, but when he was getting the ball in the final third, he wasn't doing much with it at all when we had the opportunities to. Now, I felt sorry for him a little bit because whenever he'd get the ball just in the inside pocket in the left flank, Romelu Lukaku and whoever else was in the box would go to the back post or to the centre of the goal. He was looking for someone to stretch it a little bit and maybe run in behind the flank. Rashford came on at half time. He didn't get enough of those runs in for him. So Luke Shaw didn't have a great game. In midfield, Pereira got took off at half time. Wasn't the best game for him today at all. Fred, awful day for him today. He's arrived at the Premier League now, and he would have turned up thinking, who the fuck are Brighton? Who's Glenn Murray? Who's this? Who's that? I don't know who these guys are. And he'll know today. He's arrived. Now, we can't write off Fred at all. He's a new signing. We've got to give him time to bed into the Premier League and all that. But this was a lesson for him in the Premier League today. How it's going to be against those kind of teams down at the bottom. You can't be fucking around. Then Pogba. Inconsistency yet again. Yes, he got a goal today. There was one great ball he pinged to the back post for Marcus Rashford in the second half. But apart from that, his passing wasn't very good. An inconsistent performance from him again. We saw a good performance from him the other day. Today, not so good. He probably got through the game on the other weekend on pure adrenaline alone, having just come back from the World Cup. Maybe that lack of a pre-season, lack of training and all that stuff is showing but we still expect far better from our £89 million man. Far better. He did get a goal. It was like 94th minute. It was too late to make anything happen once it went to 3-2. Further afield, Anthony Martial, when he had the ball in the final third, he tried to make things happen, particularly in the first half. But there was one part that summed up his performance there. He didn't have a great game at all. And there was one thing where he picked up the ball on the edge of the box just before half time, and he didn't have a clue who was around him. And you've got to be aware. It's okay to be a little bit like that in their attacking, in their defensive half and in our attacking areas. But on the edge of your own box, you've got to be awake. You've got to be lively. And that kind of summed up his game for him as well. He came off after around 65, 70 minutes for Marouane Fellaini, who had a decent game when he came on as an aerial target. Romelu Lukaku, not the best of games today for him, but he got a goal. And I just thought today, United were not good enough. Were not good enough at all from back to front. The tactics weren't good enough. The performances weren't good enough from each individual player. It was just really, really bad. And you've got to ask after that. Now, the other substitutions of Rashford and Lingard. I thought Lingard was our best player for like 20 minutes just after the first half time. I thought he was our best player, and he did very little, which says a lot. Rashford tried to make things happen, didn't. 45 minutes, but you're looking at that team and you're looking at the players that we have, even like Martial, Lukaku, Pogba, Rashford, Lingard, Mata, all these players. Mata had a bad game today. I didn't even mention him, which says a lot about him. And you're thinking about all of that and you're thinking, shit man, like we've got all these players but we play like that. And today it wasn't one person that had a bad game. It wasn't just the centre halves, although they did have a bad game, and it led to Brighton going 2-0 up. If they don't make those mistakes, maybe we get into the game and we can win the match. But they did make those mistakes. Bailly and Lindelof were poor, but the whole team was poor as well, and that's a worrying thing for me. Now you've got to ask yourself two questions. First of all, you can't really go nuts because it's the second game of the season, but you've got to ask yourself these questions. Was it a sign that this team is down tools, don't want to play for this guy? The manager's lost them with these tactics because the tactics weren't good enough today? Or is it just the players were not good enough? It was a bad day at the office? Because it seems to be one of those two things at this moment in time. Now we've got a game against Tottenham Hotspur a week on Monday. That's where we need to get a reaction from the boys. Tottenham Hotspur at Old Trafford Monday night under the floodlights. We need to be at it. But that was so bad, man. So bad today. Have you guys not been able to see me at all? Oh, you were able to see me up until a couple of minutes ago. I do apologise about that. Right. I'm back now. Get your comments in. I've calmed down a little bit after releasing that, I think. I'm just watching it. Oh my god, it was fucking awful, man. Ashley Young, never again. Bailly and Lindelof, maybe again, but like, what the fuck was that? I think with Bailly and Lindelof, we have to give them more time together. We have to play them because they are our best defenders. You know what I mean? They are our best defenders, so we have to play them. We can't just dump. This was Bailly's worst game in a Manchester United shirt. I think Victor Lindelof's had worse games, and I think he was dragged down a little bit by Eric Bailly. But we have to give these guys a game again. Now, will Jose go to a back three with two wing backs? Because the fullbacks we've got, Luke Shaw, he likes to attack. You're looking at right back at the moment. Valencia, potentially, if he's back. Ashley Young, Darmian. They're all defensively a little bit poor. I would have preferred to see Darmian than Young today, but Darmian wasn't even on the bench. They're all a little bit defensively poor, so we've got to change something there. Do we go to a back three with two wing backs? I don't know, man. I don't know. Not again. It's difficult to experiment against a Tottenham side who are very good. Very, very good. That was awful, man. That was awful. Now, for you guys joining late, why is Adam in a tie? Why is Adam in a shirt? Why is Adam not at the AMEX? Because I've just come from a wedding and I'm going to a christening party. So that's why I'm dressed like this. Not because it was United's funeral today. Don't worry about that. It's not that deep. Or is it? What do you guys think? Get your thoughts in the comments below. There are about 1,000 people watching at this moment in time. There's over 1,000 people watching at this moment in time. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing, sharing, commenting. This is AdamMcKola TV. This is the reaction show. We're going to go into some of your comments. Ari Sharif says, Young can't defend or cross, so what's the point? Moo out of United, says Dennis. Pogba Lamasha turned up again, says Ryan sarcastically. Read my mind, mate. Back free, says Zylo. Nino says Jose out. Jose needs the hairdryer from Sir Alex, says Michael. Tottenham will tear us apart with that defence, says Fareed. I want to see exciting gameplay even if we lose. Moo has given us nothing. We play shit when we don't win, says Danish. Kyle says, sorry, I haven't seen Kyle's comments moved. Go 4-4-2. 4-4-2. I don't think that's really realistic in this day and age, but Leicester won the league that way recently, so what do I know? Ed Woodward's fault, says King Tomo. I don't think it's Ed Woodward who sets the players up. I don't think it's Ed Woodward who analyses our opponents. I don't think it's Ed Woodward who trains our players week in, week out. Now, if you're telling me we haven't got enough on that pitch to beat Brighton, then you are absolutely out of your fucking mind. The manager has to take as much responsibility as the players. But also, having said that, if everyone's going to be throwing stick at Mourinho, you have to give some stick to the players as well, because they were fucking awful today. I don't even know anymore, man. That was bad. That was bad. James says, I want Smalling back. That's a bit deep. Young is not a fullback, says Ian. I agree with that. This means Matic and Valencia back next week, says Cowie. Unfortunately, that's one thing that I'm gutted about, because I do still think Pereira has very big potential. Pereira, Fred, Pogba, that midfield three, Bay and Lindelof. Look, they had a fucking awful game today, but they still have potential, and hopefully that doesn't turn Jose off not playing them. But maybe it was just an example that games like this, I said it in the preview, will we go for a more defensive looking midfield? Maybe not go with Pereira, go with Herrera instead. We didn't start with that today. I wasn't against it, so I'm not saying I was right, but we did question that today. And in hindsight, the midfield was completely overrun. Kevin says we need to work on our passing, and that, I think that just fucking blows my mind, because we're Manchester United. We've got a team that's worth countless hundreds of millions of pounds. We've got a manager that's supposed to be one of the best managers in the world, has won loads of trophies. So why not go onto the training pitch, sort it out, and play like a team that fucking know each other? Not a team that just met on a bus for the first time ever, drove up to Brighton. You're a bunch of great players individually, but you haven't got a clue each other are, because that's how we played today. It's bad. Is that a sign that the players don't want to play for Mourinho? Is it just a bad day at the office? What is going on at Manchester United? Get your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you're thinking of that game. Now remember, obviously I'm not at the AMEX today. I was at that wedding, so I've not been. But Nat is doing fan cams with Full Time Devils, so you can go and check the fan cams out on Full Time Devils a little bit later on. But for now, guys, I'm supposed to be going to a party. Can't be asked. I'm AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.